Evaluator tonight for Lionel, and Lionel is working on the dynamic leadership pathway in Toastmasters. He is working on a level 1 project, which is evaluation and feedback, and I believe he's giving speech number 2. So the actual objectives of this speech tonight is, the purpose of the speech is for the member to demonstrate that he or she has applied the feedback received from his or her first speech. I believe it is the second speech, and the time is 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you very much. And please welcome, with his speech, Persuasion and Manipulation, the Subtle Difference. Persuasion and Manipulation, the Subtle Difference. Please welcome Lionel Concha.
You're muted.
Again, thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and most welcome guest, Monica. Do you know the difference between manipulation and persuasion? Do you have enough fortitude to be quiet and be calm when somebody tries to manipulate? Are you a good leader to persuade people, to convince people to get things done, but in a good way, in a good mood? Today I'm going to share 3 stories about manipulation and persuasion. First one is a book that I've read a long time ago. My father used to read that book with me, and I love that book. It's a book from my childhood. It's Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer has a story with a fellow. He was punished because something, and he was painting a fence. He doesn't like too much to painting, but then a friend of him came. He was Ben. Ben talked with him about his work. He said, "This is not a work. I like that, and it's good thing, you know. Some people would like to be like in this place." And he talked a little bit, and then he convinced Ben to paint. And Ben said, "Oh, let me paint a little." And then for exchange for something that Ben gave to Tom Sawyer, to Tom, he was allowed to paint. And he was so glad to be painting, but it was a punish for Tom. And that's, for me, was kind of manipulation at that time. But let's talk about the real manipulation, something bigger than that. And the manipulation, I took this main idea from a book that her author is Dave Lakhani, and the title of the book is Persuasion. And there's 4 points of these manipulation things similar to persuasion. The first one is you can see that, is the search for a solution. Second point, it's time sensitivity. And third point is potential for loss. And the 4th point that both share is encounter with a benevolent authority. Let's talk about a little bit about this. Suppose you are going to buy a car. You want a car, you want to change the car. It's not a new car because you don't want to pay a lot. It's a new car, but you want to go. And then you see an ad. Come, come, come. We are going to slash the price to the bone. Our loss is your gain, but you have to come today because we are getting out of our inventory. We need to buy new stuff. And then you are convinced of that and you go to the place. And then you start, because you need a car, you start with the first point, the search for a solution. You try to buy a new car. You're trying to buy a solution. That's the first thing you need to meet to have that manipulation things. And then the second thing is that they say, oh, yes, you see, you go to the place, you go to and you see a car you like, but not enough you don't want to pay so much for that car. And you ask for some solution. You ask to lower the price or have a different car. And then he said, oh, I need to talk with the manager. And then he came with a time. He said, okay, there's another customer that is trying to buy that car. And you need to be, we can sell that car, but not at that price, but you have to do it today. That's time sensitivity. They want you to buy that car today, now. And when you have to do something just fast, sometimes you don't think. It's emotional decision that you said. But you are a clever person. You are a smart person. You said, no, I'm not going to buy that today, now. And you go home, think about with your wife, maybe with somebody else. And then you say, yes, that's my car. I need that car. It's a beautiful car and it's amazing. And then you go there and they say, oh, you don't see the car over there. And they said, oh, we have in stock, we just put in another place because somebody's going to buy. But if you decide now, you cannot lose that car. It's a potential for loss. You decided that that's your car and you are going to lose that car. You're going to lose that opportunity. And then you find a benevolent authority, the person that knows a lot about car, more than you. And he tried to find a better price to find, and then you're fully committed to buy that car because it was your dream car. But you sign paper, you beat the other customer, and you get that car. What happened in the next weeks? Well, because it was a car that needed to be buy as soon as possible, and you didn't have time to check everything, you see there's something missing in the car. And you see there's nothing the best buy you can do. And that's wrong. You did a decision by emotion. And that's bad. That was a win from one side and not so a good deal in another side. And there's not always like that. Sometimes when you see that kind of person, it's a manipulation. It's not persuasion. Persuasion is a different thing. In a persuasion, both have a win-win. And it's a yellow? Yes, it's a yellow. And the thing is that I remember when I came here to Canada, we met a guy that was our mentor. He said, we have a meeting with him just every week. And he showed us 4 things. He showed we need to learn a lot about the language. We person that immigrant, we are not good as with the language. The second thing is know as much as possible with the market, what we know about the market. The third thing is about meet or know most person as we can meet. And the fourth one is to personality. It's the person to sell ourselves as best as we can. He was a salesperson, but at that time, he gave us a very good advice. That's the difference between the manipulation and persuasion. It's the good thing, is a win-win for both. It's the intention. They are not trying to buy things and then forget about you. And that's the message I try to give you. That's the takeoff. The thing is that you can be manipulated, be aware not to have that, and you can be a leader. You can be a good person for another one, trying to have a win-win. It's the intention that is important. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.